Wonderful to hear from
He's
our
not
three-time
lying,
world
I
champ.
guess,
I mean,
yeah.
he's completely right. Great to hear from Connor, of course. Wonderful insight into that series. And speaking of insight in the series, we'll go ahead and break that one down as well, starting with game one. And to Connor's point, of course, the slaying that we saw yesterday from Optic Gaming essentially carried through again into today moment.
Yeah, I mean, you know, each of the four kind of had their individual moments in the first map. It started with Krim. He was like double positive within the first couple of minutes at 14 and 7. And this is where I kind of spoke before the game with yourself, Ben, and we said kind of don't give Optic Gaming streaks. They got the streaks, but it wasn't about that. It was simply the slaying side of things. As I said, Krim started hot, Scump went on a mad tear, and he continued that to the very, very end. But streaks broke the road hard point, then it rotated around. Formal had a fantastic ending, but it was just throughout the whole of the first map, it was just one-sided on the slaying side of things, especially probably going into the next slide here.
And one of the key things that, Merc, me and you were talking about when we were watching this is every time Krim's perspective came on the screen, we kind of said, he just makes the game look easy.
Yes.
Why is that? What is he doing?
It's his positioning, right? Every decision that he's making just makes the game look simple. Obviously, even guys like Formal, the same thing. They let the game come to them. There's a lot of times that people are just constantly sprinting. They make the game as hectic as possible. That's not exactly what you want to do, especially with an AR. I think Krim's probably been the most consistent player for this team all year long, but Scump, he's coming alive. He's coming into his form. I think this is the best that Scump has looked these past couple of days. The big thing to me is, what was Optic Gaming's ban, you know, the past couple events? Was Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Gibraltar. They're always going to get rid of that hard point. And it seems like they've really found a comfort spot in this map these past couple of weeks. You heard Krim sort of talk about it, that we had to make adjustments. We didn't really want to play all those crazy hectic maps. People learned how we played Ardennes Forest. So I think Gibraltar is a great map for people like Krim and Formal. Allows them to open up lanes, and that allows Scump to push out, control middle of map. The game's easy when you're able to do that.
Most definitely is. Their rotations as well on point, picking up the kills. Hardpoint's an easy game when you're killing everything and you're ready and waiting on the new hills. Then, of course, we went over to map 2, London Docks, Search and Destroy. And this was a very interesting one because we were counting the first bloods, and 8 rounds in, of course, it finishes 6-2. 7 of the 8 first bloods equaled a round win, apart from the last one, ironically, when a streak came through and Era ultimately took the win. But in terms of first bloods, man, Era have been so good. Even yesterday, the games where they were losing, in terms of first bloods, these guys are like first blood kings.
Yeah, and we said from the off-go, I mean, looking at the players' individual kind of play style, yeah, they're all fantastic at search and destroy, and they were getting those first bloods yesterday, but they weren't cleaning the rounds out. They were being sloppy. And this time it wasn't. It was the complete opposite. They won 6-2, obviously a very good scoreline, but again, one of the rounds that Optic did win, they... Era used 2 streaks and they lost that round.
Yeah.
And it should have been a round they won as well. So as kind of crazy as it sounds, it should have been more convincing on the side of Era.
Probably could have been.
Yeah, I think this was sort of Era Eternity. They're supposed to be that S&D squad. This is really the first showing from them that they have S&D sort of power. And I think they did it in such a unique way, right? I mean, they had 3 to 4 FGs the entire time. Typically, when you think S&D star, it's randomly hit a rush, surprise the enemy team as quickly as possible. They played very calm, cool, and collected. They were just spreading out the map, picking up kills with FGs all over. As you said, getting those first bloods, they were letting the game come to them, and they made it look simple. It was a complete opposite from game number 1.
Yeah, most definitely was. So series tied 1-1. We then head into a very chaotic capture the flag on Flag Tower. I mean, it goes obviously to an overtime, but there was just so much action in this one. And of course, Era actually go 1-0 up in the CTF field.
Yeah, they do. And this is not the first kind of crazy CTF we've seen for the first week. Obviously, yesterday we saw some very, very close, tight games. Red Reserve was included in one of them. But this time again, when we'd just seen the hard point in the way it was, I thought Optic Gaming would come out a little bit stronger on the CTF. But Era Eternity before this game, actually, I think it was yourself, Ben, who said they've been playing their CTS very, very well.
Yeah.
And in the green room, I was kind of going through and over with Jess, and Jess was almost saying as well, like, they can take this CTF. When I was speaking to Decimate beforehand, this was the one game mode they were really confident on. Does go to overtime. We all saw what happened, but some of you guys at home may have missed it, and we're going to see a highlight of that overtime now.
I mean, the ending itself was crazy. Era kept a flag with 30 seconds. We're thinking, oh my god, they've stolen the map. And then a counter cap comes immediately through from Optic.
They all turtle. I mean, at that point, you kind of do turtle, right? You just scored a flag.
Right.
There's 28 seconds left. Just get power positions and win your gunfights. All 4 players for Era go down. and they just couldn't catch up. They had no streaks. They were all taken down. Again, a solid performance, very clutch. That third overtime, nothing happened, and then, you know, about 2 minutes into the fourth one, the Optic were finally able to put the game away.
Scump again with a fantastic performance, 39 kills there, finishing 1.5
Yeah.
KD. But there's one specific moment during that CTF that I have a question for both of you. You know, former players, you know, some with more championships than others. Sorry, Phil.
That's Ben, but you got all the
A couple of locals under my belt, that's for sure. But in terms of one flagpole from Era, I believe it was Krim who was last alive. He was around mid-map area. Era run the flag straight through mid, and the flag carrier goes down roughly by sandbags close to their mid. Krim picks up a 3-piece, right? But I heard the call out from Era, just go for it. Just dive onto the flag and see if you can get the cap. Is that the right thing to do when you know that you have Krim 6 ready and waiting on a head glitch essentially as well? Do you go for the return? Do you play for the kill?
It's obviously a super tough. If he's set up in such a powerful position, it's obviously a very tough sort of, you know, gunfight to win. So use that dolphin dive ability that you have. It's something that maybe you can catch somebody off guard where Krim 6. Maybe they should have challenged the other. One guy, you know, puts a couple of shots into him. The other guy picks up the flag and gets away. It's obviously a very tough situation and a game-changing situation for Krim 6.
Yeah, I think a high risk, high reward at the end of the day. You know, you go for it, you win that one-on-one with Krim, and, you know, it changes the game. It maybe secures the game for you. I was trying to think of what the scoreline was at that time. 2-1. So, I mean, again, high risk, high reward. Go for it. It comes off. You're a bit of a superstar. If it doesn't, you know, it can give Krim that kind of fire, that 3 kills. And, you know, in this case, it didn't work. But at the end of the day, you've got to take those chances sometimes. It's those split decisions and, you know, those call-outs which you hesitate on. And then you'll be watching the VODs and thinking, if I would have gone for that maybe half a second sooner, I might have got it.
You can talk about that play, but obviously it comes down to the final 20 seconds of regulation, right? You get that fly cap. You have to be able to clutch up and win those gunfights in your base, and they're just not able to do it. They're 20 seconds away, you know, from being up 2-1 in the series.
Very true, very true. Of course, it was Optic Gaming that went 2-1 up, and then we went over to a hardpoint St. Marie du Mans, and it was very, very similar story to what we saw in map 1. I mean, Krim, you know, we mentioned his 3-piece in CTF. He got another one here in hardpoint as well, picking up just so many kills again, letting the game come to him, and it was just a dominating performance, Merc.
Yeah, I just think the slaying power, again, is really shining through. Pharaoh there with some nice shots, but it was just a bit too much for them to handle. I mean, again, Era Eternity, for the most part, has been in every single series that they've played in. They've had some very tough competition. They've really played some of the best teams in this division. And it's a pretty solid showing, but in the end, I mean, Formal, Karma, both had some great game number 4s. I just feel like, you know, Optic Gaming's hardpoint is finally polished. Look at that third hill, 99-0.
Wow. That's one of the first times in World War II I think we've actually seen a 0 amount of points scored.
Yeah, I think Chance obviously casting it. I got the chance to listen in. He was kind of saying that wasn't like 50 points. That was everything. You know, they got it all. And yeah, we can look at Winery and say fair play. You know, Era, they pretty much took the majority. But sometimes that is the difference. What's interesting to see though is what Merc said. Era are in these games. Yes, they're losing, and you know that's not good enough. Getting close gets you nothing. You know, at the end of the day. However, very, very tough start to Division A for those. Next week, you know, the teams I would say are a little bit easier for them. Maybe pick up some wins, get some confidence behind themselves. Then they have that break. Then they can come back again, and hopefully they learn from like the very difficult parts of the start of the division and build upon that. It's a new team still.
True. One thing, of course,